Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to show you how snippets in Visual Studio Code works and how you can create your own custom snippets to work for you and your workflow. So snippets, what are they exactly? Well, if I start writing in this Java file, I can write PR, or PU rather, and then Visual Studio will automatically give me some recommendations of what I might want to be typing. So for example, public or public method or public static method. In this case, I do want to write public, so it'll just give me a suggestion for that. Then I want to say class, and then I want to say heard, and you'll see that it gives me a suggestion based on context because this package, it's called hertz, so it'll give me hertz, and then I don't really want it to be hertz. I want it to be heard based on the file that I'm doing for the class that I'm doing, which is a heard class. And another example of snippets could be if I wanted to make a big block of code, and for example I write main for the main method, and you'll see that there's like a square there's a square icon in front of main. That means that it's going to create a big block of code. You can also see on the right what code is going to be written once I press enter. So you see the public static void main and everything that we need. So when I press enter, it'll automatically do that line of code for me. And right here, my cursor is placed on the middle so that I can start typing here whatever I want to and whatever I need to do for this code. Another great example is if we write an if statement. If I just write I, it'll give me the if, but I'll finish up that if. It'll give me two options, and they seem pretty much the same, right? Both are if. One is with the square, and one is with like a strange icon. The one with the icon will just, finish up that if that I was writing. But if I click on the square rather, it'll give me this whole line of code, and you'll see that this condition part is highlighted by default, so I can just start typing directly here. And if I can write a condition, for example, I can just say true, so that I want every single time for this if to work, and then you'll see that true will be a suggestion. I can just write there, and then I don't have to click here so that I can start typing. I can just press tab, because you see that the part where I would like to continue my if statement is highlighted. So if I do tab, my cursor will automatically, be switched to that area. So I can now continue my if statement. I can do a system, blah, 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 to print whatever I want, right? So these are very handy things that Visual Studio Code does for you automatically, and they come by default. Another great example is for. I can do for I, right, which will create a variable which is index. It will make all these blocks of code. So now if I just start pressing tab, I can change what type of value index is. So it can be an int, or it can be a float, or it can be a double. It can be whatever I want. I can change it directly. Then I can change the name of the variable, and you'll see that my cursor is highlighting index here, and index here. So if I change the name to, for example, my bar, the name will be changed all across my line of code, all across this main area here. And then I can press tab again, and then I can press tab again, and then I can press tab again, and then it'll finish my code here, where it's a bit weird because I have my if statement here, but it would have ended where I wanted it to end, so that I can start typing my if statement, right? So Visual Studio does a lot of really handy things. It can give you a lot of handy suggestions, but it doesn't fit everyone's use case, because maybe you write a specific line of code a lot. Maybe you like to use a specific type of int a lot, or a specific type of for a lot. So we can write our own snippets for Visual Studio Code. If you're on Windows, you press Ctrl, Shift, and then P. This menu here will appear. And if we type snippets, we can see this suggestion, which is configure user snippets. We click on this, and then we have another menu with a bunch of options. We can configure global snippets for a global snippet file, where we have a JSON file, which all the snippets done here will be global to every single language that you use on Visual Studio Code. The suggestions that you put here will be the same for any single language. Or we can pick a specific language like Java or Lua or CSS or whatever we want, really any language. And also we have another option, which is to create a snippet for this file, for this repository, for this folder in particular. I'm just going to choose to create my own custom snippet on my java.json file. So we click on that, and this java.json file will appear. Now, it is a JSON file, so if you don't know how to work with JSON, it's pretty easy, but Visual Studio Code gives you a very handy suggestion here, which is commented. So we'll just copy this and paste it below, and we'll take away the comments. And then now I press Shift, Alt, and F so that my Visual Studio Code will automatically format my JSON, right? And this is how we create our own custom snippets. And I'm doing it for a Java file, as we can see. So I can name this whatever I want, as long as we don't have various snippets with the same name. This name can be really whatever I want. I'm going to create basically a system.out.print in Java. So I'm going to say my print. It's going to be my print snippet. The prefix is the text that's going to appear. So once I start typing for if, for example, is going to be what suggestions appear when I start typing. So I want this to be something, memorable. So for example, I'm going to do system.print, which I know is not the correct syntax, but it doesn't have to be. I could have just written print, to be honest. But I'm going to keep it like this, just to make sure. And then the body is what the actual command that's going to be written out is going to contain. So I'm going to do a system .out.print. And to make the cursor appear here when we use the snippet, we'll have to do $ and then 0. Now, how this works, basically, you can create various different positions where the cursor is going to appear. So I can do $, for example, $1. And this is going to be the first position, and then when you press tab, it's going to switch to the 0 position. And you can have as many of these as you want. So it's going to be from the highest number to the lowest number, and 0 is going to be the last number. So when we get to 0, it's going to end all the highlights. I'm just going to take this away. And then I'm going to show you right now how it's going to work. I'll just change the description so that, well, this is pretty accurate, to be honest. I'm going to leave it like this. Right, so if I go back to my code here, and I type system.print, you'll see this is my own suggestion, and you can see the code that is going to be outputted here on the right, which is my system.out.print. And if I click on it, or if I press enter, then I can start typing. And now I can put in between commas, and I can write hello world. So that's how you create your own custom snippets. I will leave links in the description below if you want to check out the full documentation by the guys over at Microsoft on how you can create your own custom snippets. There are a lot of very, very cool things. But before you leave, I wanted to show you real quickly. Here in Snippets, I have some custom JavaScript snippets, and they allow you to do some very special stuff. So for example, you can see here that I create a function with this strange name. And this name is basically going to take the name of the file, which is tm file name, and then base. So it's going to take the name of the file. So for example, javascript.json, it's going to take that JavaScript, and because it's base, it's not going to take the JSON. So it's going to be a function that's going to be named by default reference to the file name. So if I have a file name that's, for example, my rounded button, then the name of that file will be rounded button, and the name of the function that I want to output, for example, for this React component, is going to be rounded button without the .js extension at the end. And there's all sorts of stuff that you can customize. So again, I encourage you, if you want to create your own custom snippets and create something really cool and really fit to your workflow, check out the documentation down in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.